How did I forget my music? Oh, I gotta get my music.
Do it right, build wealth, live life, economic empowerment, real tips, insight on the new Black Wall Street. It's on the new Black Wall Street. It's your host.
All right, my beautiful people, this is ERGJ, a certified financial educator here with New Black Wall Street. And I know it's Saturday, but it looks like yesterday some of my videos didn't have volume. So I wanted to present some things to you guys today. Kind of show you, I don't know, how I kind of use the news. And then also kind of give you a preview of an investment session. Now, of course, when we do our sessions, there'll be more visuals. We'll be able to look at companies, look at their financials, look at charts, all that good stuff. But even just from an article, I'm able to kind of draw some ideas on things that I may want to look into. So I've got an article came out for the Wall Street week ahead. It says optimism among S&P 500 CEOs as Trump takes power. So I like to consider this Trumponomics. And so what I'm going to do today is just kind of have a conversation with you guys and just, hopefully incite your imagination to get you to start thinking differently. As I've said before, paying attention pays. And I think that if we can help you to alter your mindset, you may fare well. You may begin to look at quite possibly investing or this thing that we call investing a little bit different. So in this article, basically, Donald Trump's administration was only hours old, but already a small parade of S&P 500 company chiefs have voiced optimism that his promised tax cuts, stimulus spending, and deregulation will boost corporate profits. So the S&P 500 companies are quite many of them, it's all about that corporate greed. And so we know that Trump is a businessman. So the idea that his administration is going to be good for business is not far-fetched, right? I mean, that's the world that he comes from. So in the days ahead of Friday's inauguration, senior executives from Morgan Stanley, Delta Airlines, and other major U.S. corporations said the Trump White House has already sparked a brighter outlook for business. There's certainly more reason to be optimistic as we enter 2017 than there was at the beginning of 2016. This is what Morgan Stanley CEO James Gorman said on Tuesday after his bank said profit doubled in the fourth quarter. Now, Morgan Stanley had a huge fourth quarter, and also James Gorman got a pay increase of 7%. He's now making $22.5 million a year. So keep that in mind. Think about that for a second. So all these big corporate heads are in bed with Trump. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So think about this. Let's just say this. Let's say, okay, before Trump became president, and as he was running his corporation or his businesses or his real estate and all that stuff, who was he connected to? He was connected to all of these different CEOs. Of course, the banks, that's who he had to get cool with in order to make some of his deals. That he had to get cool with in order to be able to get out of the 4 bankruptcies, right? So if we just think for a minute and say, man, who was he in affiliated with before he even became president? And as we look at his presidency or his candidacy or his cabinet, we can see that he's brought in a lot of the people he's been cool with into his cabinet. So it only makes sense then that as he is in office, no matter what he says, he's going to look out for his boys, just like you would, just like I would. I'm going to look out for my boys first. And who is his boys? Who is he really connected to? Who is he really cool with? Who's he down with? All the people that he did business with before. So this is why we're basically letting you know in advance. We're basically saying that investing really is going to get easy because it's almost obvious, you know what I'm saying, where this administration is going to be moving the economy. All right, so just underway, fourth quarter earnings reporting season is providing a glimpse of what major large companies expect under Trump, and their take is largely positive so far. Over a dozen S&P 500 companies reporting results in last week have signaled optimism about potential tax cuts, infrastructure spending, employee benefit costs, and reduced regulation. Again, potential tax cuts for the rich, for corporate tax cuts. infrastructure spending, employee benefit costs, and reduced regulation. With corporate earnings already on the mend after a slump in oil prices and a strong dollar last year, S&P 500 companies are expected on average to grow their earnings by 6.3% in the December quarter and 13.6% in the March quarter. We're in the March quarter now, right? So January, February, March, that's the March quarter. They're expecting their earnings to jump 13.6% this quarter, according to Thomas Reuters. So since the November election, the S&P 500 has rallied 6% to record highs. It's almost at 20,000 points, in large part due to expectations that Trump will pass policies that will stimulate the economy. Banks have led gains, with investors betting Trump will roll back regulations passed by Barack Obama following the 2008 financial crisis, which many investors say went too far. So think about this. So I want you guys to share your thoughts, right? So Obama came in office in 2008, and he came into the recession, right? And then in order to stimulate the economy, so to speak, they bailed out the banks, and then they passed regulations or strict regulations on banking and lending practices. So let me ask you this, and in the comments below, I want you to think about this, and I want you to put whatever your thoughts may be. If Trump comes in, he says, "Okay, well, we're past that, and now I'm cool with the banks, and we're going to roll back or lessen or deregulate or reduce regulations on the lending practices of the bank." Who does that benefit? Who does that benefit? Matter of fact, we already see that his first day, he's already suspended mortgage premium rate cuts. Who does that benefit? And when I say who does it benefit, who's going to profit most from deregulation and lending practices if that happens? And then also, cutting back mortgage premium rates. See, when you cut back mortgage premium rates, right, it's not helping the consumer who's getting the loans, right? It's not helping them. So who is it helping? Who will it benefit? Who will profit the most from this decision? And this is the question, right, that I ask. This is the question I think about when I think about investing. When I see these things that's taking place, who is in the position to profit most? And you can use that one question, you can use across any platform. Whenever a decision is made anywhere in life, it doesn't necessarily have to just be an investing, right? When you see something crazy go on, or you see something happen in the news, or even in your relationships with people, most people are selfish. Let's just keep it real. Most people are selfish. So who profits the most from the decisions that are being made? And these are the clues that we can use to make investment decisions. So somebody saying the banks, hey, what's going on, Justin? How are you? The banks, right? So you guys are saying the banks, right? So what we're doing today is we're making it easy, right? And so and then also I'm just kind of trying to give you an idea of the things that you miss at the kitchen table when you don't join the kitchen table. Now, what's the table? The table is the investment sessions that we have. We just talked about oil last Tuesday. We're going to be talking about the FANG stocks this Tuesday, which is Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. And we're going to be talking about marijuana next Tuesday. But guess what, guys? If you don't join in on the conversation, then you won't be able, it's going to be very difficult for you to start to transition the way that you think so that you can be in a position that you can start to make your money work for you. You got to show up to the table. Now, see, here's the deal. If you're invited to the table and you decide not to show up, whose fault is that? You know what I mean? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a platform where access to the table is lowered, right? So now you can't say, oh, I can't afford to join or come to the table, or I wasn't invited to come to the table. Now you can say, well, hey, I knew the table was there, but I chose not to come to the table. All right, so after United Continental Holdings on Tuesday posted lower December quarter profits. Yes, you can. So the question came up, can you invest in banks? Yes, you can invest in banks. So you can invest in Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is up 30% or 20% over the past 3 months. You can invest in Bank of America. You can invest in Goldman Sachs. You can invest in JP Morgan and Chase. Yes, you can invest in the banks. You can invest in black banks. Matter of fact, I'm a create. I did it last year, and I'm gonna do it for Black History Month. I'm gonna do another class on how you can invest in black banks. Obviously, that's where I want to go. I want to be able to help launch or help promote the black bank, because the black bank does have an interest in the black community. They still have to follow white regulations, but they do have a vested interest in the black community. So I've got some things coming out of the pipe. I'm still pushing the bank black movement. So just look forward to that. But yes, you can invest into banks. What's going on, Coleman? Yes. So that is the future, right? So here's, I don't want to. See, y'all gonna get me going. So I got a plan that I've already put in place. So I'll share a little bit with you. And I'll talk about Club Millie, which is this year the goal is to help 1,000 people invest $1,000. And what was funny about this is that for me, well, not funny, but interesting about it is that the whole plan came to me in a dream. I just thought about it and I was like, hey, this is what we want to do. And the whole plan came to me in a dream. So I'm gonna share the whole plan when I roll it out, but just kind of give you an idea of what Coleman said. Like, part of the plan is to develop black banks, black-owned credit unions, all of that stuff, right? So all of that stuff is part of the plan, and that's the part where we get into investing, because once we build up enough capital organically, we'll be able to do whatever we want. But we got to be able to build that capital up, and the way that we build that capital up is by pooling our money together. And the way we're going to pool our money together is we're not looking for crowdfunding. We're not going to be, you know what I'm saying, trying to raise money. We are going to do it organically. In other words, I believe in the philosophy of money. Money to me is the exchange of value for value. So if I'm able to give you something that's going to bring benefit into your life, then you're willing to pay for that, right? And if we can take that exchange and we can group that money that comes in together, now we have power to be able to make decisions with capital. So I think that's where, when I think about Umar Johnson, what he was trying to do with the school, I think that's where there was a disconnect, because he wasn't exchanging value for value. He was exchanging rhetoric for value. And I want to move past the point of exchanging rhetoric for value, like or selling you hope for your money. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to exchange tangible results. And anybody that is here that has been following me for at least a year, they can tell you that they've had tangible results in their life. They've had tangible results in their life and their children's life, because we continue to preach the message and we continue to teach the message. I'm not a preacher. I don't have rhetoric. There are results that follow what I say. So yes, what's going on, Antoinette? So you said yes, but you may check their exposure, make sure they're not. Yeah, I mean, we still have to do our research, man. We still have to analyze any investment that you are thinking about considering. They're just saying, hey, I just want to put my money somewhere, a mutual fund or something like that. Any investment needs to be analyzed, right? If you were to say, hey, I want to invest in real estate, you're not just going to buy a property without analyzing. You're not going to buy a property without having it inspected. So any investment that you consider, whether you're going to, even if you're going to start your own business, which is an investment, you analyze. You're part of your part of the analyzing phase is you developing your business plan. You're projecting, you're thinking, you're figuring out who's your competition. You're figuring out your cost benefit. You know what I'm saying? Your SWOT analysis. You're analyzing. So any investment, this is what I'm saying, like the philosophy of investing is what I want to teach you most, because you'll be able to take that across any platform. I don't care whether it's Forex, whether it's stocks, whether it's real estate, whether it's options, whether it's day trading, whether it's whatever. Once we begin to develop the philosophy of investing, we can take that and make any investment grow exponentially, because we have the right philosophy. We have the right mental makeup. That makes sense? I'm not against crowdfunding, Coleman. I'm just saying the way that I'm trying to operate, I'm not trying. That's not my strategy. Am I going to do a real estate? Cover real estate. I've got some real estate stuff coming up. So that's probably gonna be in March, I would say. It's hard to fit everything in. someone asked for a REIT investment session. I'll work on that. And then I also got some professionals in real estate from a buying standpoint, buying your first home to investing, to wholesaling, to all that stuff available. So in case. So here's what I did last year. I created a platform where we had a lot of professionals come on and teach in these different arenas, from real estate to insurance to investing, anything that had to do with wealth, building wealth, protecting wealth. We had someone to come on and talk about, how to do a will, a trust, all that stuff. I forget the name of that term, but that's protecting your wealth. So I've got all that stuff. We've got all that stuff in our organization that we'll be rolling out and bringing back out to the urban community. So, be on the lookout for that. So anything that you are interested in as far as building wealth is concerned, you know what I'm saying? If you drop it in the comments, let me know what you're interested in, what you want to know about, and I'll do my best to try to bring it. And if enough people are interested, now here's the thing. Plenty of people are interested in stuff, but not many people are committed, you know what I'm saying, to what they say they're interested in. In other words, they can say, hey, I want to learn about real estate, but then guess what? When you bring the real estate class, oh, I'm too busy, or I can't afford it, or whatever the case may be, they don't show up. So this is the fine line in the Black community, or just in any community at large, where we must push past interest. I'm not interested in interested people. I'm just not, because you make no progress. Now, once you get to the point, see what I'm interested in in connecting with people who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Those are people who are ready to make something happen. Interested people, it's great, it sounds good, but then when you roll it out, they're nowhere to be found. So I'm looking for people who are ready to make some moves. It's 2017. We don't have time to wait. We don't have time to wait. I'm getting all off subject. I'm sorry. So starting investment group, yes, that's targeted towards commercial and real estate development. Yes, Coleman, an investment group is something that is on the pike, and you are definitely targeted to be a part of that development. So I appreciate your input into everything as well. Long-term asset investment for future leverage. Yes, absolutely. Has a company that can help, Permanent Realty Group. Okay, fantastic. All right, so getting back to what I was kind of saying, just as far as this investment session. So a conversation like this, right, even more in depth is what we go into. So getting back to kind of the news, so to speak. Even though United Continental Holdings, they had a lower December quarterly profit, their president said it feels like we're on a really good path. It felt to me that there was an inflection point after the election for business demand. So again, Trump coming into office, Trump being a former businessman. We're making connections. Trump being a former businessman, Trump being in real estate, going through all of his bankruptcies, having good friends in the banking industry who's helped to finance his Trump Plaza and his Trump organization, right? Trump Towers and all that stuff. All that stuff had to be financed. All right. So also a big Delta Airlines chief, Ed Bastian, told analysts this month that he was excited about potential infrastructure spending promised by Trump, as well as a chance to make his case about unfair competition from Middle Eastern airlines heavily subsidized by governments. Look at this. So Delta Airlines, their chief executive, he is excited about potential infrastructure spending. So that will lead us to say, man, where in the infrastructure will this organization or this administration be spending? And he's excited about it because he feels like, maybe over the past 8 years, there's been unfair competition. So will the airline industry or the United States airline industry begin to get quote unquote fair competition? That may be subsidized by, you see what I'm saying? But it may be subsidized by the governments. These are things we can kind of look out for. These are the things we can kind of look out for. Vince Dealey, chief executive of FNB, which is First National Bank, said on the quarterly conference call on Thursday that that he saw more confidence among commercial customers and a potential pickup in lending. So again, now Hope, with Perm Realty Group, is that more residential or commercial or both? Because again, I'm of the belief that that commercial lending, where because again, commercial means business. Trump is a businessman, so I'm of the mindset that commercial lending is going to be more of a pickup more so than residential lending. Which also, when you look at the PMI being those premium rates being cut, that tells you that quite possibly a lot of people who might have been buying houses, either they're going to have to pay more for them or they're going to have to wait to get those houses as well, right? And then also when I look in Atlanta, I'm in Atlanta, right? I'm not seeing a lot of houses being built. What I'm seeing is a lot of these mini communities being built, and all these high rises where people are getting lost, people are getting condos, people are are renting space to live in these congested areas, that are, and then they put all these shops around. Now, you guys, you tell me in your city, wherever you are, what are you starting to notice as far as building and construction is concerned? And I'm talking about more so in the major part of the city where most people most traffic goes. I understand that if you're in the suburbs, if you're 45 an hour away from the major city, but the major city, what are you seeing more of? Are you seeing the same thing that I'm seeing in Atlanta, which is commercial properties being built? You gotta let me know. Are there some good IPOs to look into? I don't know, James. I mean, you got IPOs are always coming out. You got Snapchat IPO coming out soon, but I'm not a big I'm gonna talk about IPOs, man. It seems like I'm gonna have to do a session on IPOs. I don't really pay attention to many IPOs personally, because I understand them, man, and I'll go into that on a different video. But IPOs are always coming out. Companies are always going public. Why are you looking? Let me ask you this, James. Why are you looking for IPOs? If you were looking, you say, are there any good IPOs to look into? Why are you looking for IPOs? There are investment opportunities everywhere. Again, Netflix over the past 5 years has grown 825%. They weren't an IPO. So why are you looking for IPOs? What's your draw to an IPO? What makes it enticing for you to consider it? What else might be going? Chuck E. Cheese's is an IPO that's coming out soon. I don't really follow the IPO market, but my question to you would be, what is enticing about? Why did you specifically ask about IPOs when you have over 10,000 companies that you can invest in? Now everyone is over the moon. Kansas City Southern bemoaned an uncertain environment on Friday. What was I trying to go to? Say, obviously, the political and economic uncertainty is probably first and foremost on most of our minds, and the irony of us reporting earnings on the inauguration day of the 45th president is not entirely lost on us. This is what the chief executive, Patrick Ostermeyer, said. So there is a surging of confidence that's going on. Still, while Trump's views on immigration and a range of other issues are at odds with many Americans, most small businesses and consumers do see brighter future as he launches his presidency. An index of small business confidence in December hit a 12-year high. So small businesses. Now, I don't know who I may be talking to, if you are in business or if you are a small business or an entrepreneur that's trying to become a small business, but this may be the term, this may be the year, this may be the time for you to start to see some success, start to see some legislation go in your favor as we have a business-minded president taking office. So Comey said in Jacksonville, there's a push in the historical district in which 2 blocks from downtown, great flip environment because buyers want to move. They want to move back downtown. So is those, when you say, are those residential housing, or is that what type of properties are those? United States Consumer Confidence Index in December hit its highest level since 2001, a month before the September 11 attacks. So following the strong stock gains in November and December, many on Wall Street are concerned that Trump may fail to deliver on all his promises. A Republican-controlled Congress might balk at infrastructure spending or tax reductions that significantly widened the federal budget deficit. Other investors worried that Trump could follow through on campaign trail threats and tear up global trade deals and crack down on illegal immigrants from Mexico who provide low-wage labor in agriculture, restaurants, and other industries. Folks are potentially underestimating the degree to which Trump is serious about real reform on trade and immigration. Now, here's my thing. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think that Trump is serious about real reform? Do you think that Trump is serious about real reform? And so we know that Trump has talked about, you know, building the wall in Mexico and having us pay for it and getting the money back from them. We know he's talked about a lot, but do you think that he is serious about real reform? So the past few months, Trump publicly targeted and threatened a range of multinationals, including Ford, General Motors, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, that may have left CEOs of publicly wary of publicly disagreeing with his policies. So, let's just say his targets or his threats have actually caused many of these companies to fall back. You know, Ford and General Motors, they were going to build some plants in Mexico. They decided, okay, we're just going to keep them here in the States. And what that impact is, Lockheed Martin obviously is on the verge of a deal for F-35 planes for the government. So they're on the verge of that deal. I'm not quite sure what's going on with Boeing, but Boeing and Lockheed Martin are both. So we got General Motors and Ford, which are both American automakers. And we got Boeing and Lockheed, which are both aerospace, right? So again, you know, paying attention to, those are the two industries. Those are four companies that would be easy to say, hey, man, I may want to start paying attention to them. They're putting them in the news. They're giving them to us. Now, we may say that he's threatening them, but will his threats have will their response to his threats have a positive or negative influence? If they, in my opinion, if they do what he wants, right, or do what the administration wants, then it's probably going to be favorable for him. If they decide not to do what he wants, then it's probably not going to be favorable for him. If they got to pay higher taxes and their profits are cut or the deals don't get done. Like, Trump is shrewd, man. You know what I mean? So do you think that he is serious about real reform? Do you think that Trump does what he says? And from what he's shown so far, what he said he's going to do, he's already started to do. We've seen that with Obamacare. Now, do you think that that's going to play out in other arenas? And if so, then it makes it pretty obvious what we need to kind of be looking at. And this is some of the things we talk about. You said duplexes and 3 families. Okay. Cool stuff, man. So, and then also another place. So we talked about, in this article, we talked about the U.S. auto industry, aerospace. And here's another place that was pretty interesting. Trump's frequent use of Twitter. We know that Trump is a Twitter president, and he's just got the moniker of @POTUS. So when you go to @POTUS, it used to go to Barack, now it goes to Trump. The frequent use of Twitter to single out companies for criticism or praise has created volatile spikes in trading of their shares, which includes online brokers such as Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade. So now, not only are we talking about the U.S. automakers, and then also defense and aerospace. Now we're talking about online trading. Now, why is this valuable? Because when Trump tweets something, right, markets go up and down either way, and then sectors go up and down either way. But what's happening in the trading industry? What's happening is traders are trying to make profit off of these huge swings. So they're doing more trades. What does more trades mean? More trades means more commission or more profit for the brokers who transact those trades. So just think about it from a real estate standpoint. If you are a real estate broker and you have more people buying and selling through your brokerage firm, then you're going to make more profit, right? So the same thing here with online brokers. If there's more buying and selling during the Trump administration, then that's going to bode well for the online brokers. Does that make sense? So again, it makes it very, very easy and simple investing now because we can get real good clues on where we may want to at least be paying attention. And I've just given you 3 right there. U.S. automakers, defense and aerospace, and online brokers. So anyway, this is what we do, man. When we have our investment center and we talk about what's going on in the market and the economy, how it's impacting any particular sector, and we try to find some potential investment opportunities. This Tuesday, we're going to be talking about Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Those are the FANG stocks. Again, you go to www.ergj.net if you want to join in on that investment session. Again, I'm not going to be doing too many more of these for free or online or Facebook Live or wherever I'm at right now, YouTube Live as well. And guess what? I'm on Facebook Live. That's Facebook. I'm on YouTube. That's Google. So it makes sense for us to talk about these huge companies that continue to get our content, that continue to get our dollars. But the question is, are we making any profit from them? Have you made any money from Facebook in 2016? Did you make any money? Did you make any money from Netflix in 2016? Did you make any money from Amazon? Did you make any money from Google? But yet we're using these platforms, but have we put ourselves in a position where we can profit from these platforms as well? And that's what we're going to be talking about on Tuesday. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful. I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse of the news to pull out industries, pull out companies, quite possibly to add to my watch list to investigate or analyze to see if there are investment opportunities. And so hopefully you were able to grab some of that from what we talked about today. Patrick Bentley said, investing in technology, targeting a niche market, and figuring out does your idea solve a problem? If so, you're on the right path. There are not a lot of blacks in tech biz. That's why I started my tech biz. I'm looking to diversify, so I'll most definitely be tuning in. Fantastic, man. That's cool, man. You got a tech business. And here's the thing, Patrick. Here's the thing about our community. You got so many intelligent people. They're doing so many great things, maybe on a smaller scale. And the only reason why you're on a smaller scale is because we're not giving you the support that you need with your brilliant idea, more than likely. And so what I'm trying to create, what this plan that I'm going to roll out in February is attempting to do, is to bring capital to our community, from our community, and that we can then reinvest back into our community. So, for example, Patrick's saying he's got this small tech biz. He may have this wonderful idea, but because he's not getting support from the community, it's a lot of reasons why. But one of them is the support from the community. He may not, he may not be in a position where he's ready to push it out to the masses at large. But if we could, say Patrick had this wonderful idea that could really disrupt the market, but all he needed was a community that supported him and a little capital to push it forward. If we were in a position where we had that capital to push it forward, then we would all benefit. Patrick would benefit from being able to mass produce whatever it is that he has, which would then bring about a profit over a 3-5 year period. And then we would who pulled their money to invest into Patrick's business because of the return on investment, just like Shark Tank. We could literally create our own Shark Tank, a black Shark Tank, if we just were able to pool our resources together, little by little. So what I'm saying to you is this: is that be on the lookout for the beginning of February. I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at it as Black History Month. I'm looking at it as Black Wealth Month, because we're going to begin to make history. We're going to make history economically, and that's by rolling out a plan that's going to show you specifically how we can educate one another, learn to save together, and then also learn to invest as well. So anyway, this is ERGJ from ergj.net. Again, you can check out the website for any of the investment sessions that are coming up. And we will, I'll see you on the other side. Y'all have a good day.
The new Black Wall Street. Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We will see you all there in the next episode.